Welcome to Psychic Insights, where pop culture meets higher consciousness and the tea is always a little bit mystical. I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and around here we don't just watch the drama unfold. We read the energy behind it, whether it's celebrity scandals, reality TV, chaos, or true crime with a twist. I'm tuning in to bring you the intuitive scoop, the headlines miss. So buckle up, because your aura's about to get entertained. Hello, it's Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend. Welcome back to Psychic Insights. Oh my God. You know who we're going to be talking about, right? Laura Michelle Owens. That girl. There comes a moment in every spiritual story where illusion starts to crack even further. And the facade is coming down, and the truth finally starts to make way to the surface. And we've been seeing this for the last couple of years. And sometimes the moment arrives packaged in legal paperwork, and sometimes she filed this legal document at the last minute, again, as usual. And it's just drenched in avoidance and spiritual exhaustion, if you ask me. So what we're talking about is her December 8th, Chapter 7 bankruptcy filing. Submitted just one day before she was required to show up at her judgment debtor examination in the case she lost against Clayton Echard. A judgment where she was ordered to pay nearly $200,000 in attorney fees and costs. When you think about this, it blows my freaking mind. $200,000. What this woman could have done with that money to benefit her life in a better way. Think mental health. Think, anything. Anything. It's just mind-blowing to me. And let me tell you, people don't file bankruptcy one day before their debtor's exam because they're overwhelmed. They do it because they're avoiding something, as we know with Miss Owens. And today I want to take you deeper into deeper than the paperwork, and deeper than the numbers, deeper than the narrative, because we're going to go into the energy as we do. We're going to go into the archetype, and we're going to go into the spiritual mechanics of what actually happens when someone tries to outrun the truth. And, I did pick some cards, so you want to see that too. Okay. The energy around this filing doesn't feel careful or planned or structured. Actually, when you look at it, you're like, well, what the heck? This person is throwing shit together and hoping it sticks, I guess. And again, we've seen this with Laura. It's very reactive. She's reactive, She plans, but then she's reactive. She really, yikes. Yikes. All right. We all know this is the energy of evasion, of someone who hopes that by filing something, anything, maybe the consequence will be put on pause, and maybe the universe will grant a delay. Maybe the clock will reset. Maybe she'll jump into a time machine and go back and make different choices. But you know what? She can't avoid accountability. Spiritually or energetically, it never works like that. She can't avoid it. You can't file bankruptcy on karma, and you can't file bankruptcy on consequence, although it's been delayed. Had her parents read the same book I did on parenting, maybe she would have turned out better. Anyway, yeah, maybe not. Okay, so we looked at her creditor list, and a deeper story emerges, and it's not really just about money. It's about a pattern. And, this list is not random. It's definitely a mirror. And the nearly $196,000 owed to Clayton sits at the center like a gravitational pull. The shadow debt, the karmic invoice for deception that the court already ruled on. And when I feel into this energy, it does not read like someone who accepts responsibility. It doesn't even read like someone who understands the weight of what she's done. It feels like irritation, as if the universe is inconveniencing her somehow, as if the expectation of accountability is so unfair. And you see this pattern ripple through the rest, the medical, the mental health debts, the veterinary bills, the long list of small credit cards, the buy now, pay later accounts, the unpaid law firms, the tech companies, the subscriptions, the attempts to fix things, quickly patch things up or reinvent without addressing the root. This is the financial signature of someone living in fragmentation, someone spending to soothe something she refuses to confront, someone stacking illusions to avoid the weight of reality. And this is the financial signature of her. This is not just poor money management. It's spiritual avoidance made material. And then there's the energetic pattern of how she engages with systems around her, skipping the debtor's exam, filing paperwork at the last minute, asking for the filing fee to be waived, representing herself, minimizing assets and maximizing liabilities, hoping the volume of paper will somehow drown out the truth underneath. And this brings me to the tarot spread I pulled. I didn't do the Lenormand, even though I love them. I tried something different today because that's what Spirit wanted. So we pulled the Magician reversed. And this upright, the Magician, is mastery, clarity, intentional creation, personal power. I personally like this one. Reversed, it becomes illusion, trickery, manipulation, sleight of hand. Someone trying desperately to control the narrative that no longer wants to be controlled. I'm telling you, powerful cards. Okay, this card shows me spiritual truth behind the filing. The trick is no longer working. The illusion is collapsing. The manipulations that used to land are now falling flat. The universe has stopped co-signing the story. All right, the next card was the Ten of Pentacles, and this was particularly interesting to me because this card is a legacy. It's the foundation, the long-term stability, the structure you build your entire life on. And when this card comes up in a situation like this, it doesn't represent wealth. I love seeing this in my spreads, but it represents the collapse of a foundation that was never fully solid. Think her family and her family's bankruptcy as well. It tells us that everything she built her identity on wasn't real. The financial story, the emotional story, the relational story, it was all propped up with illusion and avoidance. And now the structure is collapsing under the weight of truth. Again, if she had used that money to get a little help. Damn. All right. The Seven of Cups reversed. That was our next card. And this is the card of fantasy dissolving. Okay. This is the moment where the fog lifts, where the illusions you've been holding on to finally evaporate, when every escape route disappears and reality steps forward. And this card clearly says whatever she thought this bankruptcy would do is not going to happen. The fantasy of escape is over. The illusion of option is gone. This is a spiritual reality check. And finally, we have Temperance. Temperance. And this is the heart of the entire reading. Temperance is divine correction. It's karmic alignment. Temperance is rebalancing the scales that have been uneven for too long. This is not the universe punishing anyone. This is the universe restoring what's true. Temperance arrives when the distortion has gone on as far as it can go, when the lie has stretched to its breaking point, when the illusion is no longer sustainable. Temperance says enough. Balance must return. Truth must rise. The energy must settle back into alignment. And that's exactly where we are. Because you can't run from temperance. You can't bargain with karma. You can't hide the truth of your own actions. You can delay, which we've seen her do. You can distract, which she loves to do. You can file papers, which she's a professional at doing. And you can skip hearings. But you can't spiritually escape the energy you created. So here's what I see psychically as we move into 2026. More exposure, not less. More clarity, not confusion. More unraveling, not relief. More truth rising to the surface. Not hidden, not obscured, not postponed. Because this bankruptcy filing is not the end of the story. Energetic is part of the unraveling, the reckoning. This is the moment the universe puts its hands on the table again and says, no more hiding, no more illusions, and no more delays. The truth is coming through. The cards confirm it, the energy confirm it, and the patterns confirms it. The filing was not a surrender, it was evasion, but the evasion era is ending. Because when the truth comes due, no paperwork, no delay, no story, no illusion can stop it. You cannot file bankruptcy on karma. You cannot discharge spiritual debt. And you cannot outrun the moment your soul is being asked to face itself. And this is that moment. And we will continue to watch how Laura Michelle Owens' story unfolds. Not from a place of judgment, well, maybe a little bit, maybe a lot, but also with a place of understanding. Because this is what happens when truth meets illusion. And this is what happens when avoidance meets consequence. And this is what happens when the universe decides it's time to balance the scales. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Psychic Insights with Robin Richardson. Mwah. And if you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell and comment, please. And let me know what you think. And what should we cover next in her ongoing saga? I'd love to hear from you. And again, thank you so much for supporting my work. And I'll see you in the next one.